Good morning and happy Monday. It's March break. It's March the 14th. Day one of March break. So kids, those who are students, not in school today. So we hope they're all watching here. And what else is going on? We've got lots of things to talk about. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is ASKaTrafficCop, and we are live from 9 Hannah, which is traffic services in the downtown city of Toronto. You know, that magical place where we get to spend time and broadcast to you. So I hope you got your questions ready. We're going to be talking to you for an hour from 9 to 10. And this is what we do Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's our thing. It's a thing. It's the thing. So welcome. Okay, first off, I want to mention, we talked about briefly the fact that it's March break. But you should know that the Vision Zero enforcement team is part of this whole March break plan. We are addressing the fact that the serious collisions, the ones that cause serious injury and death, those are caused by very specific behaviors. I mean, anything could go wrong, but the behaviors that are most commonly associated with collisions that are serious are speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. It's the big four. Now, seatbelts are a big thing too, but you know, the big four. We didn't want to call it the big five. That would just sound weird. So let's talk about Vision Zero enforcement team. They are in 11 division and 43 division, and that may mean nothing to you because not everybody knows where your local police division is. However, you might recognize the Junction, Dovercourt, Weston, High Park, Ronsonsvales, Bendale, Woburn, Highland Creek, West Hill, and Guildwood. Those are neighborhoods that we're going to be focused on helping, and we are helping. We are trying to make those roads today safer for the people who live there and the people who travel through there. It's an amazing thing. We are going to be releasing stats throughout this entire week on traffic services on Twitter, on our Instagram, which is Traffic Services Toronto. We're going to be talking about these topics. The stats are amazing. We go back 10 years and talk about the fact that I think it was 603 people have died on our roads. Is it 603? Might be 683. Hang on one second. I don't want to give you the wrong number. I want to give you the right number. Let's see what the right number is. Regardless of the number, it's staggering. Too many people have died on the roads, and whether it be on Toronto or in any city, and it's because of driver behavior. These are by decision, by choice that a driver makes to drive a certain way. So Vision Zero, the whole concept of Vision Zero, which is, by the way, to have a vision of getting to the point where we see zero deaths on our roadways. Well, the whole goal is to reduce serious injury and death on our road, because we know that if we reduce the driver behavior that leads to those, then we are going to see fewer people that are injured. So it's, 601? I said 603. Anyway, 601 people have died on Toronto roads in the last 10 years. And the other thing that's wild about that is 345 of them were pedestrians. More on that later. We'll talk about it again. We got Alan coming in from Twitch. Good morning. He sends regards to myself and the moderators. Let's talk about that. Moderators are a volunteer group of people. They are not paid members. They are not police officers. They are volunteers here to help you. How do they do that? Well, they make sure that people don't come in here and disrupt. They want to make sure that it's a safe environment where nobody's spamming or promoting businesses or trying to detract from what we're here to do, which is answer your traffic and police questions. Want to ask me a question? Make sure you do it using the question mark in the bubble. Yes, there is a question mark in the bubble if you're on Instagram or if you are on TikTok. Either of those will make sure I see it. If you're just talking in the chat, if you're asking me questions in the chat and getting frustrated that I'm not reading it, it's because I don't read the chat. That's what the moderators do. Now, the moderators, if you ask a question in the chat, will answer you if they have the answer. If they don't have the answer, they are going to answer, or at least ask me to answer for them, because that's how that works. So let's get on to some questions. Oh, and if you are on other platforms, and we are currently broadcasting on YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, you can ask questions by going into the chat or the comment section in whatever platform you're on, except for Twitter. Twitter doesn't seem to be working. The API has not been updated since they went from Periscope to Twitter Live, so we're working with that. If you want to join us and be on a platform where you can actually get our Q&A to work, It's Traffic Services Toronto Police. That's right. That play button, it's really bad drawing. But it's my go-to picture for Traffic Services Toronto Police. That's our YouTube. And if you go there, it will allow you to communicate freely, just like Naxer's just did.
Is that the fire alarm again?
No, I think that's the printer saying, feed me paper. but I don't know. Somebody pressed print. That's what happens when you press print. It makes noise. What else? By the way, Q, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm trying to recover from that 1 hour lack of sleep.
Yeah, it's been a bit of an adjustment for the kids, myself, to go to bed earlier, to get up earlier. Yeah. And speaking of which, for the weeks surrounding a time change, well, after a time change mostly, we see about 2 weeks of increased collisions. So please, if you're on the road, slow down, pay attention, and do your best to get good sleep and rest. Know your body. When people are driving and they're tired and they know they're tired, that is an indicator that bad things can happen. And that's why we see higher number of collisions surrounding a time change. People say it's like jet lag, and it makes sense. Your body's just not, it's off its rhythm, it's off its cycle. Okay. Does a no front plate ticket affect insurance? Anything. First of all, we can't tell you whether or not your insurance company will affect or take a ticket and attribute it to your driving behavior. It's not a driving offense. Moving violations, things that are attributed to how you are performing behind the wheel as a driver, could, or definitely, I should say, affect your insurance. That's something that I'm confident and can tell you that it does. But on the flip side, document charges, I forgot my license at home, those shouldn't. But that doesn't mean your insurance company won't hold it against you. Just it shouldn't hold it against you. Let's see here. We had some action here. Undead Neon, who is a mechanic and a moderator, jumps in with a good blessed Monday morning, everyone. Sending regards to all of you who are listening. Let's see here. Oh, Crunker Player says, oh, this is all about that promo. Yeah, there you go. Q already hit it, and we lost it before I got even a chance to accidentally read their domain name. This is all about spamming. People do it all the time. Not fun. Not good. Driver fined for people in bed of pickup truck. Yes. You're not allowed to drive with people in the back of the pickup truck. That's unsafe. Could it be stunt? There's arguments as to whether or not the bed of a pickup truck is a trunk, but you cannot transport people there. Obviously, the passengers, if they are over the age of 16, would be charged for occupying a space that doesn't have a seatbelt. If they're under 16, the driver would. But you never know. The driver could be charged for other things depending on what's going on. But at the end of the day, it's not legal, regardless of who gets the ticket. Someone's getting the ticket. Sean Chen comes in from YouTube, says, I can stay for the full session. Amazing, because you're on March break, so you got time to yourself. Sean Chen is one of our regulars. He's a regular viewer, a contributor, a Vision Zero youth team member. Youth Vision Zero, did I mess that up? But a person who's dedicated and into the whole traffic safety gig. Do I get a temporary plate before I get my custom plate? That's a good question, Touch. I would assume you'd be getting a temporary plate. I don't know how that works because it's a long time. Well, you can't drive without a plate, Q. So do you have to buy? Okay. So I'm having a sidebar. Q, just.
You have to use your regular plates that you've been assigned at the beginning, and then you have to wait.
What if you never had a new plate? You're buying your first vehicle with custom plates.
Then you only get your temp plates. That's it.
That's what he said. He wants to know if you get a temp plate. So a temp plate is plate with a temporary sticker. There's no stickers. So this has really gotten confusing with the new changes coming in from the Ministry of Transportation. So I don't know. Once upon a time, we used to give people temporary, they used to put stickers, not stickers, paper, you'd fold it up, put it in your window. But I can't imagine for long-term waiting for vanity plates, you must have to register with regular plates and then order them or not drive until you have them. Of course, if you have vehicle plates from another vehicle that are unattached, you can use those because you transfer them there temporarily. And so long story short is go check with the MTO because we don't have the exact. We're making a lot of guesses, and guesses don't cut it. Okay, forgot your driver's license, but you have a photo of it. Well, at least you'll be able to remember it. But that does not qualify as proof of driver's license when you get pulled over. So having a photo of your driver's license does not meet the grade for when a demand is made by a police officer roadside for you to surrender your driver's license ownership and insurance. It's great, and an officer might accept it, but they're not required to because that does not meet the grade. You have to have an original card and nothing less. You have to have your ownership documents, front and back photocopy of a valid version, and you need proof of insurance, which can be actually electronic now. Now here's the thing: people say, "Well, it's the 21st century. We're computer age. Why technology is available? Why aren't we using it?" Well, we will. And it was actually at one point said that we would have electronic ID by the end of last year. It didn't happen. They had to push it off. So we're waiting. And when we have news, we will let you know. We do have some news. Sorry, go ahead.
Sequential order shout out to Leo Wife, who's in chat.
Good morning, Leo Wife, who actually can watch the entire episode uninterrupted today. So
Second, we have Aaron in chat.
Aaron Urquhart? Is that the Aaron we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Aaron is in chat. That's awesome. Erin joined us on Friday for an episode, and it was a great episode. We're going to have her back again real soon. Let's see here. Somebody. Tony Vella. So they're paging people over the air. Okay, I got... what is this? I got pulled over with LP, didn't authorize my car. I don't know what LP is. Do you know what LP is, Q?
I can't see it. You didn't pull it up.
Okay, here's the question. I got pulled over with LP, didn't authorize my car. Only thing that comes to mind with LP is loss prevention, so I have no idea. That can't be loss prevention. All right, let's see. What do we do now? Okay. What do we do now without license plate stickers? So if your
license plate?
Oh. Hey, look at that. How that worked out. LP license plate. Who'd have thunk? All right. Hey, Sean Chen says license plate. Yeah. Yeah, where were you 5 seconds ago, Sean? I got pulled over with license plate, didn't authorize my car. I'm not sure. I still don't understand how to answer that. So what do we do now with license plates? So now, as of the 13th yesterday, the new system, which I've yet to try to log in and check out on the ministry page, would be open for renewal. Renewal is a free system, but we don't know whether it's in person, online, if it requires anything. So we'll have more on that. But essentially, it is a free system. You don't have to pay, but you do have to provide certain information and renew officially. If you have any outstanding debts against your plate, if you have fines that you haven't paid, that's an issue. That'll prevent you from getting the refund. But other than that, we're more to come. We'll let you know when we know. Linda says, "Good morning, hero." Linda calls police heroes, not just me. It's everybody, all police. And I'm assuming, can I include all first responders when you say hero? I can't. It can't just be us. We're all doing. Everyone that are first responders does a fantastic job, and that's doctors, nurses, and everybody that have been working tirelessly through this entire pandemic. So let's go here. Why do cops hate car guys? It's funny, and I'll tell you a quick funny story. I went into a retail location last weekend, and I was talking to someone about a particular product, and because they were working, they were a retail salesperson. They are a retail salesperson. They still are. We went, and conversation moved to the fact that, am I on TikTok? So and when I said yes, that person said, "You know what? I'm a member of a community that you target, that the police target." I'm like, which community is that? Because I'm not aware of us targeting anybody. So what's the story with that? Well, she said that she was a car enthusiast. So that's the tie-in to this. Why do cops hate car guys? We don't hate car guys or girls or people. We target violators. So when you break the rules, we give you a ticket for it. If your vehicle is unsafe, we take it off the road and seize your license plates because it's unsafe. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you like or don't like or you are a car enthusiast. It's all about your behavior and your choices in terms of modifications that may be unsafe. We're car people too. A lot of us are. In fact, if you're in traffic, chances are that's exactly what we are and how we ended up being involved with what we do. Okay. Are smartwatches considered handheld devices? Yes and no. So if your watch is a watch and it's displaying the face of and it's time only on display, it's your watch. If you're navigating your watch to send text messages or read your email or do one of the many things you can do outside of simply glancing at it to tell the time, then you're using a handheld communication device. Now, if it's not capable, a smartwatch, by virtue of being a smartwatch, a smartwatch has so many different possible definitions, because you could have a smartwatch. I had one in 1985. I think it was 1985. I had a Casio data bank that held 50 telephone numbers. I'd argue that that's not a handheld communication device because it's not capable of sending and receiving data. It was something of storing data. I don't think the charge of communication device would stick, but it would certainly be careless driving if I was focused on that instead of driving my car. So the truth is, even if it doesn't fit in a particular box, there's still a charge attributed to it, or that could potentially be laid for it. But way back when the Apple smartwatch, and use that as an example because I wear one, when that started, there were people being charged left, right, and center because the handheld communication or distracted driving charges had just come in. So it made the newspaper, and they stick. If you're doing something other than driving, whether it's your watch, your iPhone, or do they even have iPods anymore, or I don't know, tablets of some kind? If you're using something that isn't that fits into whatever box, you expect to be charged. What is this? Moving to another province months before finding permanent place or for a license change, what do I do? So if you are moving, let me do it reverse. If you're coming to Ontario, this is a question coming from Instagram, by the way. If you are coming in from another province, you have 30 days once you become a resident of Ontario to apply for an Ontario driver's license. That's register your vehicle and apply for a local driver's license. Every province has different rules, so it depends on what you're moving for. I know Quebec, if you're a student and you're international or interprovincial, you're not considered a resident for the purposes of changing the vehicle. You're just a student. However, Ontario would take an international student and consider them a resident, requiring them to apply. So different rules. You need to check on the rules of the province you're moving into. Okay, water time. Okay. Go ahead.
Can we touch on what was that called again? The tints.
Tint? Why? So the deal with tints is that there are two separate sets of rules that deal with tint. One that deals with the Highway Traffic Act, specific to the coating on the window that obscures the interior of the vehicle. So if you prevent people from seeing inside, if I can't see inside the vehicle, if I can't identify a driver, if I can't make out what you're doing, it's too dark, that's going to fall under a charge called obscure interior vehicle with color or reflective coating. That's applicable anytime. So if it's dark outside and I can't see inside, that's what I'd lay the charge. There's no right to privacy. You're not entitled to pick your nose with no one seeing. You need to be visible, and there's a number of reasons. One, and everyone says, well, because officers are scared. Well, officers have to be able to see what's going on. Although the argument is always that, mind your business. Well, it is our business. Are you drinking and driving? Are you texting and driving? Are you asleep at the wheel? Are you matching a description of somebody we're looking for? When someone gets involved in a collision, can the public identify and say it was a male or female driving? These are all important things, and that goes to reasons why. But there's also officer safety. As we approach a vehicle, we need to be able to see inside for our safety. But additionally, if it's too dark, it gets into a safety side of things. So there's two charges. There's obscure the driver driver view. So you can't tint your windshield at all, save and except for a 3-inch tint strip across the top if your vehicle was made before 2016. And you can't tint the windows left and right of the driver beyond a certain amount. If you do, we can pull your license plates for unsafe vehicle. That's not fun for you. And when it gets to, those dark tints, there's also charges. So you get the charge of $110 if you have any window tint other than what I mentioned earlier. If the light truck inspection, and what's it called? Passenger vehicle guide says for mechanics to make it safe means you can't have more than 30% light blockage of the windows left and right of the driver, and of course nothing on the windshield, except for that 3-inch if you're 2016 or older. So if you have darker than that, that's where it's unsafe. That's where you can't be safety, thus you lose your plates. But you can, we see people have way darker tint. Now, the windows back behind the driver's compartment, so rear passenger, rear driver side, rear window, those can be as dark as you like. That's a different story.
What about taillights?
What about taillights?
Can we tint those?
Why would you want to, is the real question. Tinting your taillights is like saying, we're We're going to blindfold other drivers and hope they don't hit us. The idea of taillights is to notify and signal other drivers that you're going to either turn or stop, or it's simply that you're there with your running lights. So can you tint them? I'm not going to say you cannot. There's no law that says thou shalt not tint. However, they must be discernible at 150 meters. As soon as you tint them, they're not functioning the way they were designed to, and you may find yourself being rear-ended. So what happens when you're rear-ended with tinted taillights? Well, we look for clues like tinted taillights to determine if you have more of a responsibility for causing the collision than maybe somebody else who didn't have tinted taillights, making yourself more difficult to identify or see in the dark. I call them ghost cars now. That's for whether you don't have any taillights or if you have tinted ones, because it makes it much more difficult. TPS Shrekky is in the room. Good morning. Good morning to you. TPS Shrekky, if you don't know who he is, you should be following him on all the platforms. He's on TikTok right now, but he's also on Instagram. He is part of the Integrated Guns and Gangs team, and that's all about gang prevention. At least his role is all about gang prevention. There's a program called Engage 416, and that's his thing. So check him out if you're interested in learning about gangs and how to keep people out of gangs and get out of gangs if they are in gangs. Great information. We're all about keeping people safe and giving them a good shot at a regular life. Can you add a turbo to your car? Can you? Legally, I don't see there's any reason why you couldn't. There's cars you buy with turbos, whether you put it in an aftermarket. I don't think there's anything that would prevent you from doing that. I talked to a mechanic to make sure it's done properly and safely and adheres to all of the emissions controls, because I'm not a mechanic. I'm presuming that you could change something that would make it less emissions friendly. Good day, Ryan Pinn, coming in from YouTube. He is a Nova Scotian and a driving instructor and a friend to the show who shows up on a regular basis and contributes in many entertaining ways. I've never seen him dance, though, and I should tell you that dancing's not a requirement on any social media platform, just so you know. Let's see here.
Dory.
Hey, if you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I go live on social media. Right now we are broadcasting on Instagram Live, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn. We're on Facebook and Twitter, although Twitter can't currently talk to us. We are still talking to Twitter. So these shows are all recorded live. We answer your questions for a full hour, and then they're available in an archive on YouTube and other platforms, but they're easiest to find on YouTube. So if you want to watch hours and hours and hours, I think we did 243 episodes last year, because we do them 5 days a week, and it's been over a year now that we're doing it. Well, actually, yes and no. We were doing the lives on TikTok only for over a year. At some point, we started doing them all and capturing them on multiple platforms, which really made a lot of sense, because we did an hour live, and then we said, okay, come meet us on YouTube, and we do a YouTube show, and now we just do it all at once, and then we have occasionally guests that we interview, and we have 2 interviews that are in the can being edited, one with Karen and Robin from Turf, and then we have an interview with TPS Shrekky. So things that are going to be released soon. What happens if you see an underage kid vape? Well, first of all, how do you know that they're underage? I mean, if they're 5, yeah, I get it. But kids, if you see them and you have a concern, you could always make a report. But ultimately, seeing them doing it, it's not really something you can get involved in. If we see it, then we can investigate. Let's see. Thoughts on an accident that happened yesterday on the 401? I don't know about what happened on the 401. I apologize. I did not hear about it. Do I need a sticker on my vehicle, or is it now officially done? I believe that it's not officially done until you renew under the new system. So if your sticker is valid, then it's still valid until you've renewed on the new system. Now, more to come on that, because we're going to try and get a hold of the MTO. We have not received official notice from the Ministry of Transportation to the ins and outs of what's going on. So it's a guess at this point. I know that the system went live yesterday. I say we know. We were told the system would go live yesterday. We don't know if it's functioning. We don't know if it's actually happening. But if your license plate expired from March 1st, 2020 or later, you were originally covered until the 28th of February. You are now covered until the 31st of March. So if things are rocky and not going well, it's not a problem just yet. So it's a couple of deep breaths, and we'll all get through this. We'll see the transition, and hopefully we'll get some clear messaging from the ministry. Let's see here. Someone says, is it legal to have offset on a truck? I'd love to answer that, but I have no idea what offset is. Q, do you know what offset is?
Camber.
Ooh, a new way of saying camber. The camber of a wheel is the angle in which it is set to hit the road. You'll notice that many race vehicles have the tires or wheels set on an angle, and that's for cornering. So as you roll into a corner, you flatten out your contact patch, and it makes sense in those conditions. However, many vehicles have a ridiculous camber, which is not legal. You change the way that your tire meets the road, and on normal driving conditions, it normally means that you're driving on the sidewall, or at least that bead. Anyway, it will cause rapid wheel or tire deterioration. You could have blowouts. It's unsafe. You'll lose your license plates and have your vehicle pulled off the road if that's what you are doing. So there's a certain level, and I don't know what that level is. Check with your mechanic as to what is legal. Q, are we changing what offset is?
According to chat says that offset is how far the tire comes out from the hub of the car.
Oh. See, I was going on information from Q. It's all her fault. Well,
My bad.
It was a good conversation about camber. In any case, yeah, you can't have your wheels, your tires, I should say, protruding from the fender. How much can you have? There may be a small measurement permitted, but generally speaking, if you read the HTA, you can't have it. It has to be covered by fender or mud flap or some combination thereof. So if you can have, what is this? The offset of the wheel is the distance from the hub mounting surface to the center of the wheel. Offset is measured in millimeters and result in positive, negative, or zero offset. Okay. I still don't know. I don't know how to answer this. We'll have to circle back. Okay. So it's, yeah. I love these questions when I don't know the answer. I honestly do, because it creates that whole rabbit hole that must be investigated. So we're going to look up offset later, and we'll do a video about it. Are we going to be doing safeties every few years? If this is in relation to license plates, I don't know if we're going into regular safety. Right now, you only do safeties when you're transferring a vehicle. There's no reason to do a safety in between. I don't know if there's more coming in that regard. But it's interesting, we have vehicles that once you put them on the road and you get plates, they begin to rust out and become garbage, and we never look back at them unless we find them as police officers, find them and report them. So creating a regular routine could be interesting. Okay. Naxers wants to know, where two lanes of a street or highway merge into one lane, who has the right of way in Ontario? Two lanes that merge. Well, generally it's not two lanes who merge. It's two lanes and one ends. And the one that ends has to merge into the one that continues, and the one that ends has to yield to the traffic that's already in the lane. You're making a lane change. So if you're making a lane change, it's incumbent on you to make sure it can be done safely, not on the other side. So the lane that continues is the lane that owns it. If it's truly a merge, that's a poor design. I can't think of an example of where two lanes just become one. My experience is that one ends and one continues. Can you think of one, a fork in the road, where one doesn't end, there's no clear end, they just become one? Q is busy. Okay.
Yeah, I was responding in chat, sorry.
I figured as much. It's a busy joint. Just to give you an idea, moderators are busy. They are busy people, and they're doing and they're especially Q, who's also trying to listen and speak. Can I drive my tractor on the road without someone?
When I can actually speak and you don't mess up my speech.
Yes. Sometimes I gobbledygook some of the words coming out of my mouth, and it triggers. It's contagious, and then Q can't speak.
Okay.
Okay. That's bad. That's going to start a whole thing now. Okay. So Owen James wants to know about driving a tractor on the road without someone. I don't know what you mean. Do you mean you're an unlicensed driver? Do you mean that you're driving a farm grade tractor? You're a lawn tractor? I don't know how to answer this question because there's not enough info. How do I drive my new truck home from the place? I assume you want to know where you bought it.
So no, they were talking about buying a car off of Kijiji or something like that,
Okay.
and they don't have the plates active. How do they take it home from wherever they've made that sale
Got
or
it.
purchase?
Got it. So if you have plates from your previous vehicle that are unassigned, they're not assigned to another vehicle, they're unassigned, so you sold your other vehicle, you got plates that belong to you but are not assigned to any vehicle, you can put those on and take your vehicle home as long as you have insurance and that's on the vehicle and that the plates are valid. Even though they're not assigned to the new vehicle, you have 6 days that you can use for that purpose. Beyond that, they have to be transferred officially. If you don't have any plates, well, you can't drive the vehicle. You just can't. You can apply for a temporary, or you can register it and get plates. Now, the easiest way to do this is either have the person you're buying the vehicle from deliver it to your driveway, or take it to the Ministry of Transportation, go to Service Ontario in the parking lot, complete your sale there, walk in together, transfer the ownership right then and there. That way, as the seller, they're protected that you don't just drive around indefinitely with their vehicle registered to them. And additionally, that it's all done. There's no questions. There's no tickets happening. Okay.
Can I tandem tow?
No, you cannot tandem tow. Although I love the question. This is tandem towing is when you on a personal type vehicle tow, let's say a camper, and behind the camper tow another vehicle or another trailer like a boat. That would be two towed vehicles, and no, you cannot do that. There are certain towing permissions available for commercial, where that can be done with the appropriate hardware, but it is not available to non-commercial vehicles. And that's not to say a pickup truck used for work can take a camper. No, it's unsafe. Okay. What is the roadside test for suspected marijuana use? Although there's no space between marijuana and use. I know what you mean. So there's a number of ways to go. First off, when we're speaking to somebody, we're making observations. Observations of impairment in terms of whether or not it's drugs or another reason. Impairment is fairly easy to see. Now, once you go from there, we can make a demand for a roadside screening test for alcohol if we think it's alcohol, or if we think it's drugs. We may, or actually, we could also use a standard field sobriety test for either, actually. If you were to do a field sobriety test and perform poorly, we may, and we believe that it's drugs, we may make a demand to bring you before a drug recognition expert. That person would would perform an additional set of tests, and if you performed poorly or based on your performance, they would be able to identify what family of drugs you were under the influence of. Now, for marijuana specifically, there is a device that we have that uses a buccal swab. That's basically a long Q-tip that you put in your cheeks, or that is rubbed in your cheeks to get some saliva and material, and from that, the testing system tells you if there's THC present. So that's a thing, and altogether, there are different ways of determining the fact that you have marijuana or that you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol. So alcohol, obviously, if I go down that road for a second, a roadside screening device that you blow into, and it determines what your BAC is. And if you fail that, then or if you get a warning, you get a roadside suspension. If you fail it, you'd be going before a breath technician. Can I drag my pool down the road to the bar? That's an interesting question. Can I peel my stickers off now? I'd wait until you're renewed under the new system and you get confirmation from the Ministry of Transportation. We're still waiting for info there. What is this? Can I drive my vehicle without a hood? We've talked about this a lot, oddly enough. And having a hood is actually something that we think is required under safety. And it comes down to if you were to hit a pedestrian without a hood, they may very well become more injured as a result of it. So just like a bumper is required equipment, we believe your hood is as well. This is through conversation. I've not read the section of code, but it's my understanding that it is required. Okay. Why would you not want your hood? Sorry, go
Here's
ahead.
a question, and it's very common. Going to an intersection to make a left turn on a an amber. Can we still enter the intersection on an amber light?
So you're making your left turn, you're creeping into so yellow light means stop. and correct me if I'm going down the wrong path here, Q, but if you are crossing that line and it's yellow, you should have stopped. So if you're entering the intersection on a yellow and you could have stopped, you've now broken the law. You failed to stop for yellow. If you enter the intersection prior to it turning yellow, then you're there lawfully and can complete your turn on the yellow. That's not a problem, but you should not be entering the intersection on the yellow.
Wellness check.
Well, wait, wellness check. We have Sergeant Kraft here coming in from Facebook. Good morning. And he has a question. He wants to know about, do I need to get my vehicle permit renewed soon? If there's birthdays involved, I think your current validation remains valid until it officially becomes expired. If it was expired March 1st, 2020 or later, you were covered originally to the 28th of February, now to the 31st of March, and the new system is supposed to be online, but we have not checked out to see whether or not what the ministry has online and available. Let's see here. Can you cross the border with your G2? Yes, you can drive interprovincially or into the States with your G2. I assume internationally as well, but regardless of what you do with that G2 and if it's accepted, because it's really about whether the place you're going accepts it, not whether or not it's valid from us. You have a probationary driver's license, which means it's valid and has conditions, and as long as you adhere to those conditions, you should be okay. A learner's permit, a G1, not okay to travel with, only valid in Ontario. Does the new G test apply to tests already booked? Yes. It's my understanding that they have that all G tests at the moment are under the new system, which takes about 30% of the time out of the test by removing duplication of testing material. So yeah, you should be getting the lesser, the not so long test for your when you go. Laws regarding driving schools on residential streets. The only law that I'm aware of as to where a driving school cannot go is a school parking lot. I'm not aware of anything else. And maybe Ryan Pinn's not in Ontario, but we'll have to get the safe driver to weigh in on that. But I don't think there's anything that suggests that a driving instructor cannot take you on any street. In fact, they're even allowed to take you on the highway where a friend or family cannot. So that's a thing. I love that comment from Q that the wellness check automatically means Sergeant Kraft is here. There's a backstory. It's an inside joke. It's a good one too. Okay, what is asked to do a G2 test? I don't know. That's a great question for the safe driver. If you check out his channel, he is a driving instructor. He is a master driving instructor because he teaches driving instructors to be driving instructors. And that's what he does on his channel. He's on TikTok if you're interested. He's also a blogger, and he's the safedriver.ca, I believe. He is also a podcaster, and his podcast is called Speed Bumps, a safe driving podcast, and it's available anywhere that podcasts can be found. He is the guy to ask the questions about the testing stuff because I'm not a driving instructor, so I can't really answer you as to what that is.
At what age can I sit in the front seat?
I do love this question, though. So it's not. I'll tell you this: it's not a matter of what age can you legally sit in the front seat. It's a question of when is it safe. So the deal is that you are it is suggested that you remain in the back seat until you are 14 years old. Why? Why would you want to do that? Well, there's these big old bad things called airbags. They're great for adults. Not so great for young people. They explode at a rate, I think it's 200 miles per hour or something ridiculous like that. And that hitting you can create as much damage as you're trying to prevent. So it's safest to stay away from that airbag and that hard thing, the dashboard, in the event of a collision. Can you legally sit in the front seat? Sure you can. It's just not a good idea. Now, if you are in a front seat, then you're using a child's car seat, for instance, and this is not what the question is, but we'll go there anyway. If you're using a car seat, that car seat might have restrictions as to whether or not it can be attached or affixed in relation to an airbag. So if it's a kid in a child restraint, that's a different story because that seat may not be by design, not to be put anywhere near an airbag. And to get them removed, to get them disabled, if your vehicle no longer has a key, because some vehicles have keys to disable them, at which point you could legally put I shouldn't say legally, based on the instructions and so, be put in the front seat. So safest, no airbag for children in the front seat. Anyway, 8 years, 80 pounds, or 4'9" are the legal requirements to get out of a car seat, at which point you can go into any seat, but we go back seat. See, I went way too far down the rabbit hole. Way far. Way. And, just a reminder of who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable at the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I go live on social media Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. answering your traffic and police questions. For the people who are making comments in the chat that might be of an illegal nature, just to remind you that TikTok takes it very seriously if you talk about illegal acts, violent acts, anything that could be incitement. If you're flagged, if you're reported, not only could they block your account, but they can actually lock your entire device off the platform. You have to go buy a new phone just to be someone who does silly things on TikTok. So I would suggest strongly not doing that because you will get reported, not just by us, but by other users. It's a thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, and criminal things, the police can make requests for information based on your comments. You could be involved in a criminal investigation if your comments and videos do meet the grade. So don't meet the grade. Use this app as a fun place to be, an educational place to be, because that's what it's intended for. Now, I'm looking at Instagram when I say that, but I really was talking about it to TikTok, and I have different cameras to point out. I forget who I'm looking at. If I'm not staring at you, it's not because I'm ignoring you. Anyway, can I drive with a foreign license in Ontario? You can, up until a certain amount of time has taken place or surpassed or gone by. If you live in Ontario, and do you live in Ontario? I should ask that question. If you live in Ontario, you're a resident, you're obligated to apply for a local driver's license, an Ontario driver's license, within 30 days upon becoming a resident. Beyond that, you're not licensed. You're not going to be accepted beyond that. If it comes to light, not only that, you wouldn't be insured either because you'd be unlicensed. You'd have to register your vehicle and get a new license. Now, if you applied for an Ontario driver's license already, it was day 2, you got here, you were really eager, you applied for your Ontario driver's license on day 2 of arriving, but you've been driving with your foreign license, you're driving illegally because that license is not what we will accept now that you've applied for a G1. So either way, 30 days once you become a resident. If you're visiting here, you can visit here, and I believe it's either, I think 6 months is the max that you can drive as a visitor. Okay. What car mods are illegal? There's so many, but basically, in a nutshell, all the illegal ones are illegal. I know that's a terrible answer, but I like making that statement because there are so many potential illegal modifications that I can't go through the entire list. Basically, if you make it unsafe through any of your modifications, the obvious ones that I always talk about, tint, exhaust, you mess with your exhaust system so it's no longer functioning as designed. You can make it a little louder by putting a throatier or freer breathing system, but you can't remove your exhaust. You can't remove components of your exhaust, things like that. You can't change you can't stretch tires over rims that are the wrong size for the tire. Basically, these things are obvious, and yet people still do them. Is there a way to apply for a global license? No. And in truth, you don't need a global license because if you're driving into other places, you're going to be accepted with that driving license while you're visiting, just not to live there permanently. As soon as you're a resident, you fall under the laws as a resident. Is the law to drive with 2 hands on the wheel? It is a suggested practice that you drive with 2 hands on the wheel, but you must at least have control of the vehicle. If you don't, there is a potential of being charged for careless driving or stunt, depending. Akela Draconis, greetings and salutations. Happy Pi Day. I forgot about Pi Day. I talked about it on Friday. Today is Pi Day. It is. Look it up. This is where I need a guest, a Pi Day guest. Q, do you know what Pi Day is? It's March 14th. It's Pi Day.
Yes, I answered in chat.
Oh, you did? Okay. 3.14. For all the mathematicians there. Could you imagine if Pi Day could only be written in its full form? Can I drive the next morning after a joint at bed? I'm assuming that's what you mean by J. everyone is going to be different in terms of how long the effects of the THC continue to affect them. So if you're impaired, no. And if you have no, and if you have if you have a zero THC content requirement for your driver's license, like a commercial vehicle operator, for instance, then if you were to be roadside tested for marijuana, you would fail because you'd still have it in your system potentially. TJ Anderson says, "Love your morning show." No, it says, "Will TPS calls live come back online?" I'm not sure what tpscalls.live is, but now I got to look it up. But it was Liz 2, who says, "Love your morning show." Well, thank you very much. Love the love. We appreciate that. We like the fact that you are getting value and you like it. Hopefully you follow us on TikTok and get the hundreds and hundreds of videos that we put up there. We have got so many videos we don't have to do with them.
We're so close on YouTube to hitting 1K. We're at 906.
906. Hey, if you don't already follow us at Traffic Services Toronto Police on YouTube, you really should. I don't know why. No, because all of this content is available in long format as well as the what do they call those things? Reels? No. What do they call
VODs?
shorts? They're shorts.
Oh, shorts.
We upload our TikTok videos as shorts as well. So great library of stuff. And you can go back and see our original content, like the really dorky stuff that I did when I first started out. Before TikTok was a thing for us, I was doing a daily trivia show. It was like a daily trivia short video. And I'd ask a question, and then you could guess, and then the next week we had the answer. Maybe we should bring that back as a TikTok thing, because it was actually a lot of fun, and there's a whole playlist. Though, if you're interested in that, check that out on our YouTube. So Sean Chen says TPS calls is online. How do I not know what TPS calls is? What is TPS calls? I needs to know. Okay. Ryan Payne, happy anniversary. No, engage anniversary. Oh, you messed me up. Today is Ryan Payne and his wife's 8th engage anniversary, the anniversary of their engagement. Well, congratulations, Ryan. That's fantastic. It is fantastic, right?
Jesse called you handsome.
And Jesse's allowed to call me handsome. Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm handsome today.
Got him all flustered. Look, his face is red.
Hey, I'm gonna drink now.
Yeah, even chat says, is he blushing?
I don't know what to do. Does my window have to be fully opened when pulled over? I will ponder the answer to this as I refill my water glass. No, you don't have to fully open it. I mean, you have to be able to open it enough that we can communicate, but you don't have to fully open it. There's no thou shalt open it all the way. And some vehicles don't even allow you to open the vehicle window all the way. But the people who do it this much, that's just escalating things for no reason. Why? Granted, it's cold. If I'm talking to somebody, I'll say, it's cold. Close your window a little bit so you stay warm, because I care. Okay. Let's see here. That's that question. There was something that slid by. Okay. Ryan has been married for 7, together for more. Very cool. All right. Let's go here. What's your go-to pie? Pizza pie. What's my go-to pie? I think apple has got to be the go-to. It's right. Now, I won't turn down pie of other flavors, but I think go-to, yeah. Cake's a different story.
I need to jab in here with an inside joke between Jesse and I.
Okay.
He likes pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
That's how he pronounces it.
I used to work with a young lady who used to go for bagels on a regular basis.
Bagels?
Bagels.
Okay.
And if you're watching, you know who you are. Or if you were watching, and if anyone who worked with us at the hall knows who that person is. Let's see here. Pulled over and I don't have wallet. What to do? So if you get pulled over and you don't have your wallet and you are therefore unable to surrender your license, ownership, and insurance, depending on what was in that wallet, you might be getting a ticket. And in fact, if you can't provide any of the three things, you might be getting three tickets. It's an uncomfortable situation to not have your appropriate documents. Photocopies of your ownership are permissible in your vehicle, or as long as you know where they are. You need a photocopy of the ownership as long as it's a valid ownership. That's okay. Originals or copies or electronic are acceptable for your insurance documents. So you might be able to save yourself out of two of the three tickets, but you got to have your driver's license. So
Can I show up? Is there still that grace period where I can show up at the police station with my driver's in hand?
Not here. Different stations, different towns, different jurisdictions may allow you to do it. And we talked about this last week. I may have even put up a video on it. No, I was talking about Aaron. It was a clip from our live from Friday. The offense has taken place the moment I ask for it, and you don't surrender it. So coming an hour later doesn't help me. Doesn't help you. It's still an offense. And if you're dealing with me or 99% of officers, you're getting your ticket there. We don't have the ability to. First of all, we have electronic tickets, and it's been like that for years. With the old paper tickets, I could give you an opportunity, because I'm being nice, to come and see me before I put it in the box, because I have a certain number of days before I have to file the ticket, and that would satisfy people 20 plus years ago. It's not. It's no longer. It's 20 years later now. We don't do that. What is this? How long do you pull over before cops think it's a chase? So if I activate my lights and sirens, my emergency lighting equipment, and it's for the purposes of pulling you over, and you fail to do so, that's a pursuit. Technically, that's a pursuit. Now, have I done that where someone hasn't pulled over and it's not a pursuit? Yeah. I acknowledge that people are clueless sometimes. Not saying you're clueless. I'm saying there are people who are clueless and don't realize what's going on. I've had to pull over, because if you run away, that to me is a clear indicator that is you've accelerated, you've made efforts to get away. But I've had other people just keep doing what they're doing. They just don't know what's going on. I've pulled up to the driver door, right? Instead of being behind, continue to the driver door, look at them, and they're just driving. I honk the horn, I air horn, and they look over, and they're shocked to see me there. I don't have an answer for how that happens. And then any of the potential excuses that you could be trying to come up with as I tell you the story, going, oh, maybe they were hearing impaired, visually impaired, sleeping. None of those things in any situation, they were just not focused on or not paying attention. So it's not always a pursuit. Every situation is different. Obviously, if someone takes off, that's a clear indication to me that it's a pursuit. Do the OPP really have a quota? I don't know, because I don't work for the OPP. I know that we don't have a quota. We're expected to do our job, and if our job means could mean tickets, could be go to as many calls as possible that are being dispatched to. It could mean if there's nothing going on, we expect you to be working, not sitting at the coffee shop. But in terms of the OPP, I haven't tafakiyist. I don't know. How do you know if someone gives you a fake driver's license? Well, it's one of the reasons why we don't want a picture of a driver's license. And the deal is there's a number of security things, features is the word I was looking for, built into a driver's license. There's multiple numbers that are cross-checked. There are barcodes. There are things that we would look at to identify. And there's even a serial number to see if it's your most recent license. So some people will surrender a driver's license and it's their old address. Or it's an old license and they have multiple copies of it because they've updated some small thing. Well, they hand it to us, and we go check in our system, and it's not the right one. Still got a ticket.
Is a CB considered handheld communication device, sir?
Yes, it is. And a CB radio, I have one in a box. I've never installed it because I bought it when Radio Shack was going out of business. That's a long time ago. And I've never installed it. Why is this relevant? Well, because I just realized my camera's not pointing in the right direction. Hang on a second. There we go. The use of it now is against the law. There was a period of time where it was permitted, exempted, and then that exemption was removed. There is an exemption in place for amateur radio operators, people who are licensed amateur radio operators. Okay. What is Ryan saying here? Years ago, I got caught driving my four-wheeler on the road going from my trail to my house. I had no idea the cop was behind me until we got to a dark part of the road, tried to ding me with failed to comply with demand, ended up getting it dropped. Yeah, especially on a four-wheel vehicle with no mirrors. I'm assuming you didn't have mirrors on your four-wheeler. It's got to be reasonable. If you're not like hightailing it out of there, why would I think you're trying to run from me? Oh, why are radar detectors illegal East Coast or Manitoba? Well, I don't know about the laws there. I can tell you they are illegal in Ontario, and I can tell you why I believe they are illegal. And I think that they're universal reasons. So a radar detector or a jammer, a device that prevents police from measuring your speed or detecting your speed, because the jammers just give us a static reading or no reading at all. So why would that be illegal? Well, if our job is to make roads safer and it's to enforce the laws, you preventing us from doing that would make sense that it's illegal. If you're getting away with something because you're temporarily slowing down because you get an alert that we're measuring speed, and then you slow down and then continue once you passed us, what have you done? Well, you've prevented yourself from getting a ticket by momentarily driving legally and then going back to being a hazard on the road. What should be happening, and I know "should" is a funny word for many people when it comes to tickets. If you break the law, you should get a ticket. Why? Because then you will remember next time that if you do this, a ticket might be the result, and maybe you won't do it again. It's not about a cash grab. It's not about making money for the man. I don't get a free toaster if I write a dozen tickets a day. It's about changing behavior that leads to serious injury and our death. It's all about Vision Zero. Vision Zero is the goal that we should have 0 deaths or serious injuries on our roadways, because the concept of Vision Zero is that while we accept that minor collisions are bound to happen, they're inevitable, minor collisions, but the ones that lead to serious injury and death are both avoidable and totally unacceptable. That's it. That's the deal. So anything that essentially allows people to get away with it and continue acting inappropriately and dangerously on the road, well, that's a harm to the greater population. That's a harm to all road users. So that's the same question from a different person. Why can't we have radar on cars? Okay. How many drivers pass their test even though they failed to parallel park? I don't know. I passed it fair and square, but I don't know what the cutoff is for parallel parking being a contributing factor to failing. Maybe Ryan could weigh in on that. Joyce wants to know. Can you remind? Oh, thank you for bringing this up. Can you remind cars to watch for motorcycles now? I'll remind drivers to. Drivers must. Motorcycle season is coming. I'm a motorcycle guy, and I care about motorcyclists. I care about all vulnerable road users or road users in general, but I have a soft spot for people on bikes, assuming they drive appropriately and don't, create their own issues. But that's a different story. In any case, more bikes on the road. People have not been looking for the smaller motor vehicles of late, so just be ready. Keep your eye out. Slow down, look around, be safe. Look for cyclists, pedestrians. It's March break, March safe. We're all about being safe all the time, but we're talking about it a little louder right now. Let's see here. Endora. I want to know, what do you ride, Endora? Or are you just giving us general, look out for cyclist tips? But if you're a rider, I want to know what you ride. Okay. When should one follow the law? What's proof is there? I'm not sure what you're asking here. Why should one follow the law? Because they're designed to keep people safe. And if you choose not to follow the law, society has decided to empower police to act on their behalf and issue tickets to try and continue to motivate you. Roadside parking is a new word. Overnight, what happens?
Because you wanted to say that you're going to get a ticket for it, so you went parketing. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yes, you're going to get a parketing ticket. Yeah, the deal is if you park over 3 hours without a permit or in an area that doesn't allow it, then you're going to get a ticket. Will you get towed? That depends on where you are. We just lost our Instagram, and I forgot to warn everybody on Instagram that we expire. And we expire after an hour because, as you can see, we have not yet I got to make a T-shirt, a parketing T-shirt. What do you think? Okay, no response.
Your chat's been responding.
Oh, well, I can't see that. Let's see here. The Q token. Okay. Can I use dash cams to submit to police? Depends on how old your grandmother is. No, of course you can use dash cams to submit evidence in relation to a collision. You can submit the evidence, or at least the footage, to us. We may not be able to lay a charge based on the video alone, because in order to lay a charge, we need to be able to identify the driver. So dash cam footage is great for identifying a vehicle. However, we are not able to lay a charge like a red light camera or a speeding charge, simply making it the responsibility of the owner of the vehicle. We actually have to have an identified driver. So we could certainly, there is a form on our website, www.torontopolice.on.ca/core, CORE. On there, you can make a report of a specific vehicle, and then you could share a link with us to a YouTube video if you've uploaded it. That would allow us to investigate, make some notes. It creates an actual case related to that vehicle, and then we'd be able to see the behavior, possibly write to the owner and say, hey, your vehicle was observed at this time and date. So if it's little Bobby driving daddy's car, they're going to get a nastygram saying your vehicle was spotted at this date, time, location, and just so you know. And that usually goes far. Literally, it does. Sometimes a warning like that is a wake-up call, and it could change someone's life. So if you see it and you have video footage of it, great. And if it's something that the investigator who gets assigned to that case determines they can lay a charge, then they will. Car you drive your truck with your tow hitch on. If it's not blocking your license plate, then it's really not a problem. Now, something that Sergeant Murray Campbell brought up, and it's a really valid point, if you are rear-ended with your trailer hitch and ball and in the receiver, the deal is that will conduct or may conduct the impact to your frame directly, as opposed to being absorbed by the wonderful and magical bumper, which is designed to absorb impact in a different way. So you might actually cause more damage to your vehicle, and it might be something that your insurance company could catch on to and say, you know what, that damage was caused because you were negligent by leaving your trailer hitch there. We're not going to cover it because of X, Y, and Z. It's all up to them what they do. Is riding a horse on a roadway legal? Absolutely legal. Sure it is. And if you look at different communities in Ontario, there are people who do it full time. There's no rule that says thou can't not. In fact, we have horses with the Toronto Police that do ride on the city streets. Ride? Drive, walk, yeah.
I like this question. Can reservation cops pull you over, or like park cops?
So if you mean reservation by being on native land, they are the police on that property. I don't believe that they have authority outside of the reservation, but they can pull you over. And when you talk about the, what's it called? Park police, like wardens, they have authority in the parks, but not generally driving around.
We have an ongoing debate in the chat right now. If you could please address this.
Possibly.
We want to talk about what? We want to talk about lines and passing in Ontario.
Okay. Lines and passing. What do you want to know about them?
Is it legal to pass on a solid yellow?
So you're
double yellows?
So here's the deal. Lines are cautionary. White lines mean that the vehicles on the opposite side of that line are going in the same direction as you. If it's a yellow line, it means they are traveling in a different direction than you. So they're good pieces of information to help make your decisions. But if you cross them, there's no offense for crossing a line, single or double. But again, it's telling you whether or not it's safe. So when you do something that you've been warned to do or not do, and it causes a collision, well, guess what? It's on you. You are responsible for your actions. So if you cause a collision going against when you're passing against the suggestion of the line, yeah, you can get a ticket. That's a thing. Joyce Connor says, horsepower, yeah. I don't know if that was yeah or yay. I went with a yeah. Can you be ticketed for parking too far from a curb? Absolutely. I'm not a parking person, but I know that. Can I get a stunt charge riding a horse 40 kilometers over? I'd like to. I don't think there's horses that do 40 kilometers over. Do they? What's the fastest speed of a horse? But I don't think we can't get a speeding ticket on a bicycle. I would say that you probably couldn't get a speed charge on a horse.
88 kilometers per hour, sir.
88 kilometers an hour, really?
Have you seen a horse gallop?
I've been on a horse that galloped. It wasn't at 88. I did not travel through time. Was it kilometers an hour or miles per hour?
Kilometers.
I was watching a TikTok last night. They were all talking about the inner workings of the flux capacitor. They were referencing a book. It was pretty cool. I don't have a straight pipe. Why do they ask me? Do you? So if your exhaust system is loud, they might be asking you about your exhaust pipes to determine whether or not you've modified them. We don't need to ask you. We can just look. But very, very often people will just tell us. It's so much easier than crawling around looking. Okay. 300 kilometers over posted limit, do you get arrested? You don't have to do 300 kilometers over to get posted the posted limit to get arrested. We'll arrest you for a lot less than that. But yeah, you would get. I would arrest you for 300 over. Absolutely, that's criminal. That is criminal. And yes, we have missed you here on TikTok. Already dead. It's been a while since we've seen you. Welcome back. Can the police give me a ticket in the parking lot? Okay, so this is a scenario where you're driving on the road, you do something wrong, you pull off the road thinking you're safe, or you just because you're going shopping. Can we pull off the road after you and still issue the ticket? Absolutely. We can issue the ticket there. We can issue the ticket when you're at home. We can issue the ticket within 6 months of the offense, depending on the charge. If it's a charge of insurance related, because we investigate you and find out you had no insurance, we have 3 years to lay that charge. So yeah, your location. Now, the offense taking place on the parking lot is a different question. So if you run a stop sign on private property, no, we can't issue that ticket on private property. But if it took place on the road, absolutely. And if it was stunt driving, then we could issue that in private property as well, not just parking lots, but any private property. Are there laws about wheels and tires or no? Yes, there are laws about wheels and tires. Do you have a specific question about wheels and tires?
That was very quick and easy.
Yes, it's the simplest of answers. Can we report reckless driving 911? Here's the deal. 911 is for emergencies. Is reckless driving an emergency? Could it stand that the behavior of that driver could lead to serious injury and death on our roads? Could that person be impaired, on drugs, having a medical emergency? Any of those reasons could be a justification for 911. If you feel there is serious need to involve police and it can't wait, then yeah, that's something that. Now, if they're just, where's the threshold? That's really up to you. Is weaving in a lane? I think weaving in a lane is potential impaired driver. I'll call it in. If it's something that's below, like I had someone last week, and I question whether or not I should call 911 versus the non-emergency line. We were in 20 kilometer an hour traffic on the northbound Don Valley Parkway, and I witnessed a rear passenger, a child, an infant in fact, not being properly secured in the seat, and mom turning around and picking up said child and lifting them up and taking them to the front seat. Was that an emergency? No, I don't think they were in imminent danger, but it was something that a police officer needed to respond to. So I made the report, and whether they were caught or not, I drove with them for a while. Hey, good morning. I just realized that the time is now 8 minutes after 10, and with that, I should be saying goodbye to y'all, and we'll be back tomorrow. We might adjust the broadcast time to give to be 9:30. We're playing with March break hours. When do you think we should go live? Let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter, Traffic Services. You can let us know on Instagram, Traffic Services Toronto Police. Actually, no, it's Traffic Services Toronto. On YouTube, Traffic Services Toronto Police. But you know what? We're gonna go put a post up.
Yeah, we'll put a post, and we
can
do a poll.
We're going to do a poll on YouTube. We're going to do a post and a poll. Yeah, we want to know. What time do you think? Should we do 9:30, 10 o'clock? I need to know. I want to know. We'll be back tomorrow at some time, and we'll post that, schedule it when this is done after our poll. So by the end of the day today, we'll know. And great Scott, it's 10 o'clock. No, it's 10:09. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Post that poll.
Going to post that poll.
Okay.
Liz says 9:30. What time do you think we should go live? Okay. I am ending the stream. And